A very good morning, Nigeria. It's Wednesday, the 13th day in the month of August, year 2025, and you are watching Daybreak Live on Dominion Television. I am Pat Aito.
And I'm Oluwayemi Adelakun. Midweek is here, but in the world of politics and public affairs, there is no such thing as half we done. We're here to power your morning with facts, sharp analysis, and the pulse of the nation.
Well, let's start with the weather across the southwest. According to NIMET, Ibadan, Lagos, Akura wake up to partly cloudy skies this morning with light rain showers expected later in the day. Temperatures will sit between 28 and 31 degrees Celsius. Warm enough to remind you it's still August, but with a cool breeze after the showers.
And further inland, Oyo, Ogun, Ondo, and Ekiti State expect a mix of sunshine and passing clouds with a possibility of brief thunderstorms by evening. For those traveling or attending political meetings, plan early and keep the roads in mind. We all know how Southwest rain likes to surprise you at the wrong time.
Now to the J's that already setting tongues wagging. At St. Mary's Cathedral, a Reverend Father reportedly smashed crates of beer after catching some individuals drinking inside the church.
It's a story that's more than just about beer. It's about respect for sacred spaces, moral leadership, and how religious institutions navigate discipline in today's Nigeria. We'll be digging into that.
Well, then at 8 o'clock, we'll move to our big story, Beyond Oil. Can Nigeria's 2025 fiscal plan survive in the deep global crude prices?
We'll be joined by Sam Oko, senior editor and columnist with the Nigerian Tribune, to ask the tough questions. Are our fiscal strategies bold enough, or are we still treating oil like it's an endless ATM?
From the cathedral to the corridors of power, it's all on the table this morning.
So stay with us. This is Daybreak Live, where politics meets the people and every conversation counts.
All right, good morning.
Good morning, Parts.
Yes, this video surfaced online and people have been talking about it. I mean, the issue of the Reverend Father that smashed the crates of beers in the church. Well, the issue happened between the women, I mean, CWO at their annual anniversary, and the priest. And it's a shameful act. Why do I say that? Because it's happening in a church. Church where you are supposed to be taught morals and how to respect God. If you do such a thing, and after which, and even in the Bible even says something of we obey our authority. And then prior to that time, the Reverend Father said, you cannot have such in the church. Have your meeting outside, I mean the church hall, which the women just said, no, we won't listen to you. These are things that we've been doing. But to my own understanding, I feel like, okay, maybe something has happened prior to that issue. Okay. Because when something like that happens, I mean, I've been, I attend Catholic church. When something like that happens, is it that they want the Reverend Father to go, or they want to change? Do you understand?
I do.
So now they just feel like, okay, we'll just look at, let's get one of his weaknesses and just act on it.
Okay. Because
we know him. Maybe the Reverend Father is hot-tempered and sort of, and that's why the women just feel like, okay, let's just do it this way. We've actually been clamoring for him to go, for them to give us another Reverend Father. But the issue is the women desecrated the church of God with alcohol. And of course, that violated the authority, like I said, by the priest saying that, okay, you can have your meeting, but not in the church. And not you bringing alcohol to the altar of God. That's where we pray. That's where we worship. That's where we call on God and he answers our prayer. So why do you want to desecrate?
Honestly, looking at the video, on the screen right now, I mean, it's something that, should not have happened at all. And then when I watched the video, I was able to discover that at some point, the women were trying to struggle with the priest. And then they stopped at some point. Should they... I didn't they didn't stop early. Maybe one of them would have, gotten injured or something, and then, something else would have happened. So I'm just glad that, no one was injured. However, just like you said, it's a sacred, environment, and of course should be respected. And I'm very sure that, the necessary bodies and authorities will speak on this matter. Because, it's an issue that we need to look at, because issues like this should not come up in the church. Look at the women struggling, and then, he was flinging the bottle. I'm very sure maybe he has won. I'm not quite sure, and I don't want to speculate. There are certain things that must have led to this anger of him, trying to fling the bottle, and he doesn't even care about, maybe it could meet anyone and then, get that person injured. So it's one thing that we need to look at in our society. The church is sacred and we must keep it sacred. If at all they want to do that, it's not even supposed to be in the church. Even online, some persons are saying, are they even allowed, to take alcohol at all? That's dependent on them.
For some of them, they believe you can take, but not in the presence of God, not in the altar of God, not in the house of God. But there are questions, like I do ask, where some people will tell you that a party is always fond of saying, and the government will do this. Well, I ask questions. The question is, the women, what example are they laying down for the young ones? There are young ladies that feel like, okay, for every Catholic church, you will see them like this CWO. It's something that they always take with
pride, with dignity.
Now, you have them doing this. And of course, Enugu, they have monastery, which people feels like, okay, if you're actually having issues, you can go to the monastery and pray. And this thing is happening there. Even as far as you want a change of the Reverend Father, it shouldn't have gone to this stage. It shouldn't.
It doesn't set a good example.
No.
Even to people.
We have virtuous women. Okay, what happens to Proverbs 31 in the Bible? Are they virtuous women? Even if you know the weaknesses of your priest, must you go as far as desecrating the house of God?
That's why I say some things must have happened that are not quite
that's exactly that is what I said.
To him, reacting in that manner. Because he was really angry.
He was furious,
and he didn't care whether the bottle will meet anyone. He just wanted to fling it, and people were even trying to put him together with what Jesus did in the Bible when he entered the temple
and chased the way the morning changes.
Exactly. So I think it's something that should be corrected, and of course I look forward to the necessary bodies coming out to say, okay, this is actually wrong on all sides and should not repeat itself. Because we don't want issues whereby some persons will say something like this happened and no one talked about it. So why can't we do the same? Because this is Nigeria. When issues like this happen and then nobody talks about it, people are not being punished for what they have done. People tend to repeat the same.
Well, let me go spiritual here, because I just feel like the priest has done them good, in the sense that another priest might just be looking at them
and not saying anything.
And not saying anything, and waiting for the wrath of God to just hit them. Remember, in the Bible, God says, I am a jealous God. I seek for vengeance, first, second, third, and fourth generation. It might not happen in their own generation. It might happen in another generation.
And even judgment will start from the church. So it's a lot to unpack. We just hope that this can come to an end and we don't get to see videos like this online that will not distract some other persons who are trying to live upright and the likes. All right, it's time to say a BYE on this segment, but definitely not end the show. Thank you for being a part of this segment. We do have quite a number of other things to talk about this morning. Please stay with us. We'll be right back.
Live from the heart of the action. Welcome to the nerve center of Next Level Broadcasting.
This is the OB van, where the studio meets the street.
Equipped with cutting-edge cameras, crystal clear audio, real-time switching, and broadcast control, we don't just capture moments, we deliver the experience live.
Anywhere, anytime, from stadiums to red carpets, breaking news to buzzing festivals, weddings, birthdays, and all sorts of ceremonies. We bring the world to your screen in real time.
It's not just a van, it's a complete mobile production house, a command center, a broadcast beast.
This is more than a broadcast. This is the OB van difference. Live, loud, limitless.
Ready to go live? Like never before. Book the OB van today and take your event to the world. One powerful broadcast at a time.
To book, call 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Email marketing@dominion.org.ng or visit our socials on Instagram @Dominion Broadcast.
Dominion Broadcast, your channel of choice. Ever dreamed of creating the next virus series or telling powerful stories on the big screen? This summer, your passion for TV can become a reality. Our TV Practical Summer Class is calling all future scriptwriters, producers, directors, video editors, reporters, news editors, and on-air personalities. Get hands-on training from industry professionals. Learn to shoot with professional cameras, master editing software, and produce your own content from start to finish. This isn't just a class. It's your launch pad. Don't just watch TV, make it. Enroll now. Spaces are limited. Visit our website on www.dominion.org.ng or call the number 0706 777 9435 0706 777 9435. Dominion Television, your channel of choice.
A very good morning to you. Welcome to Daybreak News on Dominion Television. I am Pat Aito. The federal government has unveiled plans to deepen community engagement as key pillars of the revised National Counterterrorism Strategy 2025. Speaking in Abuja at the final validation exercise for the draft strategy, National Coordinator of the National Counterterrorism Center, Major General Adamolaka, said that the updated framework was designed to improve collaboration among security agencies and foster public participation in preventing and responding to terrorism. He explained that the review process, which began in February, went through multiple stages of consultation, including workshops, committee reviews, and stakeholder engagements involving ministries, departments, and agencies, civil society groups, academia, and international partners. The Nigeria Bar Association NBA has condemned the treatment of Comfort Emerson over an incident aboard an Ibom Air flight, describing it as a violation for a right to dignity. The NBA, in the same vein, pledged to provide Emerson with pro bono legal support to seek redress. In a statement signed by its president, Mazi Afam Osigwe, SAN, and General Secretary Dr. Mobolaji Ojibara, the NBA criticized Ibom Airline and the airline operators of Nigeria AON for imposing a lifetime ban on MNC without a fair hearing. The association maintained that the conduct was degrading, unlawful, and a grave affront to the rule of law and human dignity. In a major move to enhance digital education and improve instructional delivery in schools, the Oyo State government has distributed 18,000 computer tablets to primary and junior secondary school teachers across 833 local government areas. The symbolic presentation of the devices took place at Emmanuel College, Agbo, University of Ibadan, Oyo State. Representing Governor Seyi Makinde at the event, the Deputy Governor, Barrister Bayo Lawal, stated that the initiative is part of the administration's commitment to education advancement, noting that the tablets are preloaded with various educational applications designed to enhance teaching effectiveness and student learning outcomes. Also speaking, the special advisor to the Governor Seyi Makinde on education intervention, Suraj Tiamiyu, revealed that the training is taking place across 16 designated centers in the state. The initiative marks a significant step forward in Oyo State's ongoing education reforms, reinforcing its drive towards digital transformation in the teaching and learning process. A call has been issued to government at all levels to increase the representation of women in politics and other spheres of life. Speaking to Dominion News in Ibadan, some women said the call was necessary to enable women to contribute a quota to nation building as the 2027 general election gears up.
When running for office. In a country of over 200 million people, Nigerian women have long been active in community leadership. But translating that influence into elected political office has been an uphill battle.
Okay, I can see the recent activities around trying to legislate the reserved seats quota for women to be included in political space. But one thing that I think women can do proactively first is for them to it should be over by now that women are the ones, let's say, galvanizing the grassroots support for men. What is the popularity of a woman contestant out there? What is the visibility a woman who is contesting for an election has amongst the masses? Because it is the masses that would decide who sits in what seat, who enters which particular position.
In Nigeria, I would love to see more women in politics, women who are energetic, women who can do aura for aura, energy for energy. You know, if men are doing stuff, you too multiply by your own by 10 and do whatever you are doing.
Electioneering, we see the important critical role that women play in terms of mobilization, in terms of gathering people. You see that women are so formidable when it comes to the electioneering process. But then when it comes to actually getting positions, getting public positions, women are sort of sidelined.
Women are further urged to inspire themselves to thrive in the male-dominated political space, particularly in Nigeria.
I should stop it already by saying that, politics is a man's field, it's a man's world, kininko, kininko. I think not, actually. It is just a narrative that we have peddled for a very long time, and it sounds like a normalcy.
We see that we still have a very low percentage of representation. In fact, the last assembly, we have a higher representation of women compared to this current 10th assembly, which has about just four women in representation. And that's really, really bad. That's really poor.
For these women, the fight for representation isn't just about winning seats. It's about shaping the future of Nigeria. Aino Grace, Dominion News.
And away from politics to business, the World Bank has approved $300 million in financing for up to 7.4 million Nigerians in internally displaced persons, IDP camps and their host communities in the northern region of the country. This was disclosed in a statement stating that the financing aims to strengthen resilience and expand access to essential services for IDPs and host communities in northern Nigeria. According to the World Bank, the loan was approved on the 7th of August 2025. In his comment, World Bank Country Director for Nigeria, Matthew Verghese, said the initiative is to help the country address development challenges associated with IDPs. And in sports, Super Eagles forward Umar Sadiq has completed the takeover of Nigeria National League NNL club Ranchers Bees. Sadiq, who currently plays for Spanish club Real Sociedad, brought the Kaduna club along with top politician Bello El Rufai. Nura Abdullahi, a former teammate of the striker, has been named the new president of the club. Ranchers Bees will push for promotion to the Nigeria Premier Football League (NPFL) next season. Let's know that you can visit our website on www.dominion.org.ng to watch us live and interact with us. Follow us across our social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and LinkedIn at Dominion Broadcast, and on X at DominionCast. And that is the Daybreak News. Thank you so much for watching. I am Pat Aito.
Live from the heart of the action. Welcome to the nerve center of Next Level Broadcasting.
This is the OB van, where the studio meets the street.
Equipped with cutting-edge cameras, crystal clear audio, real-time switching, and broadcast control, we don't just capture moments, we deliver the experience live.
Anywhere, anytime, from stadiums to red carpets, breaking news to buzzing festivals, weddings, birthdays, and all sorts of ceremonies. We bring the world to your screen in real time.
It's not just a van, it's a complete mobile production house, a command center, a broadcast beast.
This is more than a broadcast. This is the OB van difference. Live, loud, limitless.
Ready to go live? Like never before. Book the OB van today and take your event to the world. One powerful broadcast at a time.
To book, call 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Email marketing@dominion.org.ng or visit our socials on Instagram @Dominion Broadcast.
Dominion Broadcast, your channel of choice.
welcome and good morning once again. Welcome to News Report headlines and analysis on the program Daybreak Live on Dominion Television. This is where we'll take you through what the papers are saying. Of course, we'll read you through the stories from the Nigerian Tribune and the Punch, the Nation, and all of that. Well, Nigerian Tribune is coming first with this one: Ibom Air incident. NBA Labour Party, others flay treatment of female passengers, and we have two riders. Aviation experts weigh in on unruly behaviors at airports, and police receive petition from NCAA on Kwame when IGP directs Airport Police Command to begin investigation, and that's on page 5 of the Nigerian Tribune. And from the Nigerian Tribune, we have this: NSA to unfold fresh strategies to end terrorism. A rider there: whole of government, whole of society approach in the works. And that's on page 3 of the same paper. And page 30 of the Nigerian Tribune comes this one: Tinubu is my friend of 22 years. I have no apologies for supporting him. There's a Anambra State Governor is talking, Charles Soludo. You can read more, page 30 of the paper. And down below it, we have Tambuwal released on bail as EFCC counters ADC PDP, and riders there will run non-partisan mandates. Commission and APC using state institutions to repress opposition, PDP alleges, and EFCC planning to investigate the remark others to discredit opposition, ADC claims. And that's on page 5 of the Nigerian Tribune. Well, let's check this one out. The head story here: fast walking keep to longevity, cuts morality risk by 20%. That's according to study. Well, that's on page 3 of the paper. Of course, you can go through the Nigerian Tribune and read more for yourself. Away from that, we head straight to Daily Sun, and Daily Sun is having this big headline: we are investigating many governors, according to EFCC, and Riders says no sacred cows. Corruption has no party lines, and PDP says arrests politically motivated, and strategy to silence dissent voices. And last rider there, we have federal government using EFCC against opposition, according to the opposition party, that's ADC. And from there we have this as well: Ibom Air saga, NBA rejects passengers live ban, Obi furious. And that's on page 6 of Daily Sun. And page 4 of the paper as well, we have 16 inmates escape, 7 officers injured in Kefi jailbreak. And on page 29 of the paper, we have Nigerian hospitals now where people go to die, according to an Anglican church. And we have this one: economic side, marketers accuse NNPCL boss of sabotaging Port Harcourt refinery. And lastly, from Daily Sun, we have 81 of 1,888 female inmates on death row, says NCOS. That's on page 3 of the Daily Sun. And away from that, we head straight to the Punch. The Punch is having this one health story here: health sector crisis persists despite 5.4 trillion naira World Bank loan. That's Punch is reporting that. And we have this one beside it. We have court orders federal government to close case in Dasuki's decade-old trial. You remember this one? That's the former NSA, that's the National Security Advisor for President Goodluck Jonathan. Sure, well, we have the Lisa Metu and the rest. Well, away from that, we have this one: insecurity. Borno villagers flee, sleep on Cameroon streets, schools, and that's on page 7 of the Punch. That's according to the governor there, Babagana Zulum. And we have EFCC targeting David Mark after Tambuwa's EOGR ADC stalking. Page 2 of the Punch. And we have this one. Federal government drops 60 billion naira fraud charges against former AMCON managing director. That's on page 10 of that. And what's it called? The Punch is even reporting this Ibon airline incident. We have NBA others condemn Ibon Air over female passengers assault, and that's on page 29 of that paper. And police probe Kwame Wan over Abuja Airport misconduct, and that's on page 2 of the paper. And lastly, from the Punch, we have 30,000 naira car race bet leaves 5 dead in Ogun State. Read more. That's human angle story. So sad. Read more on page 4 and 5 of the Punch. Away from the Punch, we head straight to New Telegraph. And New Telegraph is coming with us when criminally smart politicians now declaring asset before acquiring them. Olukoyede is talking there, and that's on page 4 of the paper. And we have this from politics. 2027. I have not seen anyone better than Tinubu in ADC. Wadada is talking there with the rider says it is time to start holding govs accountable, and APC not scared of opposition coalition. Aliyu talking, and the last rider there why endorsed President Tinubu for second term. That's the Anambra State Governor Charles Soludo is talking there. Well, let's quickly move away from New Telegraph. We're straight to the Vanguard. And Vanguard is having this one. Ibom Air Fraka. Comfort begins live at Kirikiri. NBA wades in. That's on page 5 of the Vanguard. And we have the politics story here. Atiku, ADC condemned Tambuwa's arrest, say EFCC now political tool. And with the two riders there, stop sulking over opposition probes. We are non-partisan. EFCC replies ADC, and as EFCC grants former Secretary Governor bail. That's Aminu Tambuwa. And away from that, we have similar one here. Soludo is actually saying that he will vote for President, endorsed President Bola Tinubu for second term because of their friendship for over 22 years. And still the same issue from Kefi, talking about 16 inmates attack warders, breach Kefi prison, and 7 rearrested. A lot happening, and of course you can pick the paper and then the Vanguard to read more. Away from the Vanguard, we head straight to the Nation, and Nation has this one. Amechi, Al-Fahmy, and I began a opposition coalition, and the riders will start in Nasiru Danu's house, and this claim lacks basis, says former Ekiti State Governor. And we have Tambuwa, EFCC 8 back at ADC over unprovoked attack. That's on page 2 of the Nation. And we have this illegal 176 estates. Diaspora depositors demand refund. That's on page 4 of the Nation. Well, let me quickly pick this one from the Nation. IG orders probe of Kwame Wan's Abuja Airport infraction. Then Mace Emansing remains in Kirikiri. That's you can read more from the Nation newspaper. And away from the Nation newspaper, we head straight to the Guardian. And the Guardian is having this one: outrage over Ibom Air incident as IG orders Kwame Wan's probe. That's on page 6 of the Guardian. And we have this one from Lagos State. Lagos moves to regulate rent, curb abuse with new tenancy bill. That's on page 6 of the Guardian. And insecurity issue here, security story here, we have insecurity. Troops kill several terrorists in Borno, failed ambush, and that's on page 30 of The Guardian. And we have similar story here. Court strikes out 60 billion naira criminal suit against former AMCOM boss. All that you can find from The Guardian newspaper. Away from Guardian, we head straight to Daily Trust. Daily Trust is talking about this. Rivers Core builds mall on Abuja site. And we have this one. Taraba governor goes spiritual over deputy's illness. And Tinubu hailed an arty, according to Sodujo, how 71-year-old man died trying to escape Chankal explosion. That's Human Angle story. And from the Daily Trust, so we have this one, 9 at large after Kefi jailbreak. And down below the paper, we have Bauchi police shut down students protest over robbery. And beside it, we have Tambuwal released. EFCC replies Atiku, Obi, and the coalition party, that's ADC. And then we have this one, security story. Our bandit ambushed, killed 10 security operatives in Zamfara. Well, away from that, let's quickly look at what the Daily Times are saying. Jailbreak, 16 inmates flee. Kefi prison, 5 officers injured. And that's on page 2 of the Daily Times. And from there, we have courts gives federal government deadline to conclude Dasuki's 10 years prosecution. And that's on page 2 of the Daily Times. And fan partners, stakeholders on poor charges compliance. And that's on page 10 of the paper. Well, of course, this is how far we can go on newspaper headlines. I mean, bringing to you what the papers are saying this morning on the program Daybreak Live on Dominion Television. Right afterwards, we'll bring you analysis of what the headlines are saying. Stay with us.
Live from the heart of the action. Welcome to the nerve center of Next Level Broadcasting.
This is the OB van, where the studio meets the street.
Equipped with cutting-edge cameras, crystal clear audio, real-time switching, and broadcast control, we don't just capture moments, we deliver the experience live.
Anywhere, anytime, from stadiums to red carpets, breaking news to buzzing festivals, weddings, birthdays, and all sorts of ceremonies. We bring the world to your screen in real time.
It's not just a van, it's a complete mobile production house, a command center, a broadcast beast.
This is more than a broadcast. This is the OB van difference. Live, loud, limitless.
Ready to go live? Like never before. Book the OB van today and take your event to the world. One powerful broadcast at a time.
To book, call 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Email marketing@dominion.org.ng or visit our socials on Instagram @Dominion Broadcast.
Dominion Broadcast, your channel of choice.
Welcome back. It's still Daybreak Live on Dominion Television. We head straight to the analysis. I'm being joined by Oluwaseun Oluwole. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Fine. And you?
I'm okay.
It's good.
What's the weather like this morning for you?
Still mild, a little bit.
But you said you were cold.
Just mild, not that
mild.
cold, but still good anyway.
Expecting showers today.
Let's be expectant.
Okay. All right. We'll head straight. We'll begin with the health story.
Okay.
I mean, we'll go to our health sector and see what is happening there. A Punch is reporting it like health sector crisis persists despite 5.4 trillion naira World Bank loans. And we have right there, 11 major projects gulfed $3.527 billion, and 9 years as global lender expected to approve additional $250 million loan in September. And still the country still has a poor state of health infrastructure that does not reflect the huge amount of that has been collected from the global financial firm. And meanwhile, like they said, $250 million is expected to be approved come September. Let's just look at it. What are the underlying
factors,
causes of health sector crisis, despite a huge amount of money being collected from the World Bank?
One thing I tend to look at is accountability. Now, who is in, okay, like, seriously, we have the Minister for Health. We have our budget that has been, whatever that has been budgeted for the health sector. But be as it may, it's as if we still don't have the competent person at the ends of affairs to take care of our health sector. Now, despite all the fact that all this money are being pumped into the health sector, we still see lapses in many of our hospitals, especially the federal hospitals, the state hospitals, like the one we have here in Ibadan, a major one, a big one for that matter, in the health sector. And now you can imagine a very big hospital like that not being able to pay its own electricity bill. And a lot of things are amiss here when you are talking about pushing or pumping money into the health sector.
Even one of the riders says 11 major projects gulfed $3.527 billion in 9 years.
I could remember that even the hospital I'm talking about here tend to embark on some projects, and so many buildings have been left abandoned halfway. Research centers being built up coming up in one particular hospital. Now we have this research center being built, that one being built, and everything just stuck in the middle because of funding. Now we are saying we are even going for extra funding around September, and yet some of them are still stuck. What is actually happening? Where is the money going? All this money that has been pumped into the health sector, I think we should look into it. Money has been attributed to a lot of areas in the health sector, but now we can hardly say our state of health in Nigeria has improved maximum, as in ultimately to a level that we can say, okay, we can be rest assured that every citizen, everybody in Nigeria can now have access to a reasonable and meaningful health care in Nigeria. But despite that fact, I still don't know whether we need to take a look at maybe we should call the Minister for Health to come and give us his own accountability of what is actually going on.
You mean now or for the past 11 years? For the past 9 years.
We'll be having different ministers coming in. So maybe we should just take a major overhaul, total overhaul of what is happening right from the past till now. All these funds that are being gathered into the health sector, where are they going? And I think something is still missing.
What's missing?
Accountability. Nobody's I think we should be able to hold somebody responsible in the health sector.
If you hold somebody responsible in the health sector, we've been seeing a lot of people that have been squeezed by the EFCC and thereafter nothing has happened. So if you hold somebody responsible for this, do you think we'll get to the root of the matter?
If we can be so holistic or with an approach to handling matters, civil matters or financial matters, I think we'll be able to at least get something, but not this, the way we handle some issues, even judicial matters here in Nigeria. I don't think it's encouraging for even the EFCC themselves when they go after people, after all said and done, and nothing has still happened. Do they still think they wield the power?
Okay, we'll come to that, but let's look at it. What can government and other stakeholders do work together to address this root causes of the health crisis we have in the country and to improve the health sector?
Money has been allocated, it's been allocated to improve it. Definitely, we know that. But where is the money going? How is it being spent? Are they spending it? We still lack a lot of things in the health sector. Most of our hospitals are still not up to taste, up to the level it should be, or they should be.
And that's why I'm asking, what do you think the government and the stakeholders should do to address this menace and improve the health sector?
The moment you allocate funds to go into a particular sector and you don't actually monitor how it is being spent or it is being handled, such a thing will happen. It will happen. So I just see government saying, okay, this is what you need. Yeah, take it.
So in your own terms, you're saying monitoring?
Monitoring. That should be monitoring. We should monitor. There should be proper monitoring. There should be a body on ground that will, okay, let's monitor what is the funds that are being released. How is it being spent? You can't, in your own home, you can't give an husband can't give the wife money and not know how it's being spent, or you pay the school fees of your child and you don't even know the school he or she is going through. You allocate money and you don't know how the money is being spent. We have CMDs in all these hospitals, the chief medical directors. Call them to order. Can you hold them by the jugular and ask them, what are you doing? Your role as the chief medical director of this particular institution, what have you been doing? How have you been handling all these cases? Over here, we have an hospital that doesn't even have electricity, that can't even pay for electricity. And when people want to go for surgery, they go in with their own generators. How is that? How do we reach that state that people now go to the hospital bearing their own generators just because they need electricity supply for surgeries, or else the hospital board can't even afford it? And meanwhile, we have funds that are being, even patients pay. All these things are not free. All these services they are not free. We still pay for drugs, we still pay for this.
If it has been used
yes,
well, I think it's to
yes. How do you now use it? The government giving you funds, you now operating, breaking in money from patients. How do you now spend this money? Are salaries being paid on time? Are drugs being equipped? Are the laboratories being well equipped? So what is actually going on? What are the roles of the CMDs? They have medical board, we have the health board, the medical board. What are their roles? Are they just there bearing just?
Well, September is around the corner.
Before
they approve this $250 million, I think they need to check. They need to give accountability of how the other monies were being spent into the health
we haven't seen
sector
over years, and which is still lingering. The situation is still there. It's still lingering. Nothing has actually improved.
So, in your own view, you were saying they should pay. They should hold on with the
what about the ones that have been paid before? They can still hold on to that. If we are going to still collect it and nothing will still come out of it, why do we need to borrow it in the first place? We keep borrowing, pumping it to that sector, and nothing is improving. Do you think it's worth it for us to even borrow it anymore? What about the ones that have been, how do you even manage the funds that have been released before? So does it not make sense for us now to take another one It doesn't.
Well, let's leave that. We're calling for accountability in that sector concerning the money injected into health sector. Away from that, let's quickly look at this politics here, a story, politics story here. We have EFCC targeting David Mark after Tambuwal Ihejiwas, and we have this Aminu Tambuwal, former governor of Sokoto State, has been released on bail.
Official bill.
Official bill. So now they are saying that EFCC is targeting David Mark. David Mark is the interim national chairman of ADC. That's the African Democratic Congress. And the national, so we have this, the national secretary of the party, Bolaji Abdullahi, described it as a witch hunt disguised as anti-corruption. What are the reasons behind the ADC's allegations that the EFCC is targeting specific individuals?
The indications are clear. It shouldn't be, the timing is wrong.
What are the indications? Because you said the indications are clear.
Now, these people being targeted, we've seen them that, okay, these are now the opposition. Now, must it be that anybody that now comes into opposition, we must go after them with EFCC?
But APC is saying that it's not scared of having opposition.
They are, of course, on the table, on paper. They are not scared of having opposition. But at the same time, we tend to cripple the opposition. Opposition must be. They are here to stay. But one way or the other, any ruling government will try as much as possible to cripple it, to muzzle it, to muffle it so that it won't talk. So that is the normal state of things in politics. You are in the opposition, there will be a word dog or there will be a not dog that will go after you. So that is being put into play. We all know that that's the way it's going to work out. And the ADC are right that these are, because we are now in the opposition, this particular set of people are now in the opposition. So that is why has the APC not gone after them when they are still in camp? But now they are outside camp. Now they are after them. So it is a clear indication that we want to muzzle out or
does ADC has evidence to support this?
We might not actually look for concrete evidence, but it is actually glaring that that is what is happening in politics. That's it. You are in the opposition, I will come after you. I want to silence you. I don't want you to talk. Despite the fact that opposition must talk, they must be there. It's relevant for them to be there. It's relevant for them to be there, but nevertheless, you still have to keep them in check. So that is an instrument of keeping them in check. See, if you go more than what you are expected to do, if you do more than you are expected to do, this is what we are going to do. Be in your place. You can be in the opposition, but not all freedoms are free anyway.
So let's look at EFCC now.
Okay.
EFCC is supposed to be an independent body that so acts independently. But now, seeing EFCC coming after some people that have been in the government for the past years, that you have not gone after them. Now they are coming as a one body to like, okay, they are the opposition party against the ruling party. How would EFCC gain credibility in their operations?
That is one thing that EFCC should always think about, that even their credibility is at stake. When they do such things, it's at stake. How do you mean it's at stake? I said, why didn't they go after them?
Maybe they didn't receive any petition. Maybe this isn't.
Okay, now this is the time for them to receive petition.
They are just receiving it.
Okay, maybe they receive petition. If they receive any form of petition and they are not going after them, that is good enough. But if there are no petitions and they decide to be used, they stand as being used as a weapon to now, how do I say it, to victimize or to antagonize these people. Their credibility will be at stake. But if indeed there are indications that, okay, there are, these people actually have so many skeletons, not even just one.
Just one.
Rotten skeletons inside their cupboard, they can go after them. That will be credible enough. But if there are no petitions and nothing has been forwarded, and we just decided to go after them just because we think, okay, while they were in government, one sort of fund was allocated which was misappropriated and things like that. That won't be fair enough. That won't be fair enough. But if there are actual situations whereby we have petitions, then it's good enough for them to go after them. They can, that is credible in my own sense. But if there are no petitions, the credibility is at stake.
All right, we have this one. They said, police probe Kwam over Abuja airport misconduct.
Okay.
Why is this happening? Why now? Is it because we have Kwam too?
Let me say this concerning the aviation industry. The aviation industry is not just an industry that is just an industry. The way we handle it here in Nigeria, the aviation industry is much more than that. It's much more than that. It's an international thing. We have standards and we have practices and we have rules and regulations that should be followed, that must be followed, that has been laid out by IATA and ICAO. All these must be in check, must be in place. Now, all these are in place. So, if we don't say that the police are now just looking into probing Kwam 1, they might be right. It's the right thing to do.
But the question is, why now?
Why now? They might be, see, the way the aviation industry to so many, some people don't know much about it. And it's an international industry that is standardized. It's standardized. Number one, the practices at our airport, excuse me, are they the right ones that have been stipulated by IATA and ICAO? No. We tend to have circumvented those practices. Number one, from the first point of issue, Kwam 1 is not even expected. You are not even expected to have that, to have any substance with you going into the aircraft. And the moment you start behaving unruly with the other lady too, the moment you start behaving unruly, you become a dangerous good. And we have different types of dangerous goods in the aviation industry. Even a passenger can become a dangerous goods to the entirety of the
people on board.
So they can be ejected. They should be removed. They should be removed. Now, for the police now saying, okay, it is now high time for us to now do, they should have done that earlier. But now, doing it, they need to do it so that they can put a deterrent to future happenings, to future instances of such a thing happening again. You can recall that it was just some few days after Kwam 1 that we have the second one. If care is not taken, maybe by next week or by Saturday, we have another one.
That will be Kwam 3.
That will be, then we have the release of the Kwams anyway. But nevertheless, the two incidents should be well handled and probed, like I said, on the part of the crew and on the part of the passengers too. The aviation industry is a much more tailored and standardized industry, which has to keep its sanity. But the way we handle it here, we are actually losing it.
All right, sir, before we'll go on the program this morning, from the Nigerian Tribune, Tinubu is my friend of 22 years.
So
I have no apologies for supporting him. Do we have to be loyal even when people, the masses, are crying, are saying there's hardship in the town or there's austerity in the country, and somebody is coming to say, because of 22 years of friendship, I'll still endorse this person again? Is it not time for us to set the boundaries between being loyal and being factual?
To me, from his own point of view, it's factual and it's being loyal. And the person talking is a politician. Whether he was appointed, he was once CBN official or whatever. But whatever it is, he's still playing politics. He's playing politics. So his loyalty to him on his own part is factual. Despite the fact that some of us might not feel that way, that, despite everything that is happening, that all the tantrums that people are throwing and everything that is being said about this person, you are still saying you are still loyal to him. He's still the best candidate for you. To me, and everybody has his own candidate. Sometimes ago, when we were talking about the late Milad, the late Sonia Abacha, the wife came out to say something else. That whatever it is that has been said, that is being said concerning my husband, is not true. It's this, is that. People were now saying I was watching a particular station, and some people are saying, maybe we should remind our madam here that these are the things your husband did as a sitting dictator in Nigeria. Do you remember all those times? And now you are coming out to say, so people can talk from different points of view and perspective that they know the person. The person saying, oh, he is my 20 years friend, 20-year-old friend or whatever. He's talking from a fact that that is personal to him, and another part that is that we are saying loyalty of politics there. I would say that is political loyalty speaking. If another person should be in that position, you will say the same thing. They are just like footballers. Whenever you sign them, they say, oh, this has been my childhood club from day one. While he's just coming from another club. And now he's coming to join this club. This has been my childhood club. Then where were you there in the first place? Now we've signed you. Now you are saying this has been your childhood club from day one. I've always wanted to be here. And the next thing you are not performing, you said you want to go to another club.
All right, let's look at security. NSA to unfold fresh strategies to end terrorism. Whole of government, whole of society approach in the works. Will this work? Why are they coming out to tell us this? I thought it should be. I thought it should be an intelligence.
An intelligent thing. The only intelligent thing to do is in-house. Whatever it is that has been your memo, your whatever you've come up with should be in-house. You don't need to tell us by next week we are going to start bombing your air raid or something. I still have problems with intelligence gathering concerning our security here in Nigeria. Because whenever we acquire any instruments to be used or whatever, we come out and say, okay, this is what we've just got.
For you to know that we're actually working.
Yes, we have this, we have that. And the terrorists are not actually telling us, well, we have this to bomb you guys. But when you go to them, you see what they are carrying.
All right.
You are actually telling them, oh, I have a cutlass. And they, okay, come on. Come with us with cutlasses, and we know what we come. We come with the sword. All right,
Oluwase, let's leave it at that. And I hope they will understand what we are actually telling them.
Trying to say.
You have to just, whenever you want to, you have a strategy that you want to end terrorism. There's a way you could go about it. I mean, intelligence gathering is expected from you. Well, thank you so much, Oluwase, for coming on the program. All right, we'll leave it that way. And of course, coming up next is Big Story. Oluwayemi Adelakun will join you.
Live from the heart of the action. Welcome to the nerve center of Next Level Broadcasting.
This is the OB van, where the studio meets the street.
Equipped with cutting-edge cameras, crystal clear audio, real-time switching, and broadcast control, we don't just capture moments, we deliver the experience live.
Anywhere, anytime, from stadiums to red carpets, breaking news to buzzing festivals, weddings, birthdays, and all sorts of ceremonies. We bring the world to your screen in real time.
It's not just a van, it's a complete mobile production house, a command center, a broadcast beast.
This is more than a broadcast. This is the OB van difference. Live, loud, limitless.
Ready to go live? Like never before. Book the OB van today and take your event to the world. One powerful broadcast at a time.
To book, call 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Email marketing@dominion.org.ng or visit our socials on Instagram @Dominion Broadcast.
Dominion Broadcast, your channel of choice.
I welcome you back. Thank you for staying with us. This is Big Story. From 1999's modest post-military budget to today's trillion naira fiscal giant, Nigeria's spending story is a political roller coaster powered by oil, slowed by debt, and constantly battling between promises and reality. Now in 2025, we have the budget of restoration, a record-breaking of 54.9 trillion naira built on hopes of $75 oil and 2.06 million barrels a day, with debt servicing and recurrent costs still eating more than half our resources. Is this a national plan or just another political statement dressed in big numbers? And can it survive if oil prices slip or production underperforms? The IMF and other observers are calling on the government to recalibrate the budget and medium-term framework to reflect lower or more volatile oil receipts. This morning, we are looking at a topic beyond oil. Can Nigeria's 2025 fiscal plan survive a dip in global crude prices? And our guest is Sam Nwoko, a senior editor and columnist with the Nigerian Tribune. Welcome on board. Welcome on board this morning.
Thank you. Good morning.
Yeah.
Good morning, viewers. It's good to be here once again.
Definitely. So we want to look at quite a number of things, but let's start from here. Just about a few days ago, the Vanguard published a story that says Nigeria's 54.99 trillion naira budget suffers setback as oil drops to $66 per barrel. Nigeria's 54.99 trillion naira budget, suffers that setback, and of course, looking at the whole thing, it was intentionally, placed, or maybe there was a speculation of $75 per barrel, and of course about 2.06 to 2.1 millions per barrel. So how do we make, how do we explain the situation now? Because it appears this price is not stable, and then a lot of factors affects the prices. We talk about global indices, we talk about wars across the country, and a whole lot of other things, even international policies. So how do we do we account for this? How can we actually tackle this issue, because we are in such a serious situation currently?
Thank you. First, I want us to remember that when this budget was being prepared, there was what many people saw as an upsurge in the price of crude.
Okay.
And it sustained for about, for a couple of weeks, some 4 weeks at that period. And it was rising beyond 80, going towards 90 and so on. And many people felt, okay, $75 per barrel for our budget was modest, and it was a good projection. But unfortunately, things don't, the volatility is nothing anybody can control. So now we are back to earth.
Okay.
We have been removed from that utopia, and now we are back to earth and facing the reality of inability to fund our budgets. So I want to believe that they have been jolted also, and one of the things that caused the perennial request for loans by the federal government is one of the things is this volatility in the oil price. And now here we are. We have a mess in our hands as far as our budget is concerned. We have a thorough mess, because you need to balance a whole lot of things, and those things that need to be balanced can only be balanced when your balance of trade is such that can accept the terms you have provided, but we don't have it. So I sometimes don't know how else they could do this. IMF has advised, others have advised and said, lower your expectations, recalibrate your budget, look at it again, and come up with some other kinds of terms. Hey, this is a country that is independent. This is a country that tends to look inwards, trying to look inwards and perhaps not base everything on oil. But where are we? So it's a big issue for the government. It's a big issue for our economic planners. And it's also a big issue because the impact of the economy, economic impact of all of this is on the average Nigerian. So I don't honestly know how else to advise the government other than for them to look inwards and see if there are some terms they are going to use for it, for us to grind by, because the budget implementation is already at a certain level.
Okay, thank you for your input on that. So the budget has been extended quite a number of times, and the House of Assembly have argued it happened due to the lack of resources. So I ask the question, how do we prepare a budget when we are not quite certain of how we are going to get the resources?
Unfortunately, but like we always hear and say, a budget is a proposal, it's a projection, it's like a bill to guide you.
Okay.
That's one. Then two, how does that bill guide you? You say, okay, I intend to spend 5 naira this year, but by the time the year begins to run, you see that volatility, you see that inflation and a few other factors would change your perspective of that 5 naira which you have projected. Now, when this budget was coming up, and even part of the extensions and some of the things we have seen now, we remember that a lot of people kicked because there are some other projections which the presidential fund, there is a fund set aside which the type which they are using now to renovate the airports.
Okay.
The type where they have said, where are they funding projects from? Like the coastal road is funded from a presidential fund, a pool of funds that's created for it's an ex-budgetary something. The House of Assembly, by House of Assembly I mean our National Assembly, both chambers of the National Assembly, has this duty to really sit down and call themselves back to look into this budget. We have extended the implementation of the budget as we have rightly said. This extension means that by the time it gets to that time you have extended it to, and nothing happens, you still go back to square one. There are no funds to fund the budget because funds are going elsewhere. Where are our funds going to? They need to find out and plug those places. What are the available funds used for? Is it for overhead? Is it for recurrent expenditure? And so on. They need to plug some of these things, and they need to be true to themselves, because we have found out that the National Assembly has been finding it very difficult to talk truth, to tell the executive the truth. They are more hand in glove with the executive than they should have been with ensuring proper implementation of the budget and reporting to the masses of Nigeria who elected them. So they have to stand up and do what is right in this regard. It's very, very important.
Okay, speaking of the National Assembly, there were some insertions about over 6 trillion naira, and Nigerians are asking, is this not too much? I mean, looking at the fact that you have mentioned that they should be part of the process, don't you think that amount is too much?
It is. It is, because if you knew there was going to be difficulty in funding this budget, because the volatility in oil prices, we know, has been like that for upwards of 19 months. It is not new. So they felt perhaps because it's based solely, almost solely on oil receipts, they felt the volatility is not going to last for too long. There's going to be calm, and the kind of long projection of $70, $75 or thereabouts. If it was 70, 75, we can say, okay, we can still manage it and adjust, tighten things here and there. But they themselves made certain insertions, which was a trending issue at a certain time.
Yes. And
this trending issue then was that nearly every arm of government, nearly every parastatal was to do solar lights, was to do some projects that are not even particularly useful to the economy. Now, when they knew that this was the case, they should have maybe detracted from what goes to the federal, to the executive and other arms of government, which are not statutory, so that they can fund some of these things. But no, everybody is waiting on the same source of fund. Now the source of fund is not what it was projected to be. So it has become a problem. And that is why the National Assembly has been finding it difficult to speak up. Because they know that if they raise the matter, if you watch, they haven't been discussing it, by the time they reconvene, let's see if they are going to bring up this matter. But they have not reconvened, they have not been speaking up about it, because they know that Nigerians will ask questions regarding certain things, including the one you have just raised.
And Nigerians really asking questions, because I want to believe that the budget is a democratic financial tool. The masses are supposed to be part of the process. They're supposed to ask questions, because why? Their tax is part of what makes up the resources for the budget. Are we really asking questions?
Well, to a large extent, Nigerians are asking questions, but are the people who are supposed to listen to these questions listening? A lot of organizations are asking questions, I must tell you. People are complaining. People are saying things that are relevant. And by relevant, I mean they ask the relevant questions. For instance, if you made a budget and everybody is primed to fund the same kind of project.
Okay.
Everybody is primed to receive from the same source. Is this healthy for the economy? I know that there was a Twitter debate at some point, so much that one House of Rep member had to weigh in to begin to explain some of the things they do as an assembly, some of the things they do as a house. But the question was left unanswered. The question which was left unanswered is it proper for, say, a school, a federal government college, to be constructing projects? A school in Enugu State is budgeted to construct a project in, say, Nasarawa State. Is it proper? Is it a proper thing to do? So those questions were asked, but officially the National Assembly did not answer those questions. So it doesn't mean that Nigerians are not asking questions. It only means that those who are supposed to answer the questions have kept mute and have kept going on as if nothing will happen, nothing will happen, nothing they happen. And they alienate those who are supposed to, they alienate the questions and act as if nothing is happening indeed. So Nigerians are asking questions, but the right people are not answering the questions.
Okay, let's talk about the subsidy removal now, because a lot of Nigerians are actually saying, what is the benefit of removing the subsidy? Because it appears that budget, keeps increasing year in, year out, but poverty is also increasing. And look at, certain factors that have increased poverty in the country, factors like the COVID-19 pandemic, like flood, like insecurity, and of course, worsened by subsidy removal. About $80 billion, dollars was actually, recovered from subsidy removal. But are we really seeing the effect of that? I mean, in Nigeria?
If I take it from the last, are we seeing the effects of that in Nigeria? I would say no, to a large extent, because states have more money now. So perhaps the only positive from that is that many of them are no longer owing salaries, and many of them are constructing roads. We see that many of them are doing one or two things, but in the overall, in the real terms, are we seeing the effects? Maybe we will see the effects in the near future, because let's say the subsidy removal has been 2 years since the advent of this administration, and now after 2 years, do we have a projected? Do we have a? Have we set our focus on something? Have we set our sights on something the subsidy removal is doing? I don't think so. I don't think so. I only know that there is more money, more liquid cash for governments to spend and so on. And then they are paying salaries and a few other things. But do we have the framework within which we can say this is what the subsidy removal has achieved for us in itself, in its own self? I don't think so. And that is why you still have this hyperinflation. Our inflation, as we speak today, stands at way beyond 28%. When they pay the salaries, it's consumed by inflation. It comes in and goes out, comes in and goes out. People can hardly save. People can hardly do many things. So what are the main problems? The main problems are that, for me, by my own projection, by my own thinking, the main problems are that the first of the things they should do, they are not doing it. And which is what? Galvanize the people. Use this to revive the economy one way or the other. Set your sights on a particular project, get it off the ground. Governor Makinde of Oyo State is facing a Greek project. Is he doing it well, as it were? Well, we wait to see, because the results are about to come. But what the liquid cash with you are doing, because people are also saying, ask your governors questions, ask your governors questions. Are we benefiting from the subsidy removal? By we, I mean, are Nigerians benefiting from subsidy removal? It looks like everything just goes on as normal, as if nothing has happened. Only that you now pay more for many things, and you are not getting any benefits from those things you are paying for. So maybe, like I said, if we wait post 2 years, and by the time this government will give it, let me say, kind of midterm report and tell us that, okay, because we know he may come back to recontest, and when he comes back, he will say, okay, these are those achievements which can be attributed to the subsidy removal. Then we'll be able to judge properly. But for now, I don't think many changes have taken place.
Okay, speaking of the increase in the revenues of the state governors, you particularly spoke about Seyi Makinde, and a lot of persons are saying that there was a certain amount that was set aside for renovation. Apart from even Makinde, all other governors across the country, they are talking about, Nigerians are complaining about the issue of mismanagement of funds, because they have it in excess now. The major things they're supposed to focus on, they are not focusing on those things, and they rather, set aside money for infrastructure, huge amount of money. What do you make of that? Well,
you see, if it had been possible to say this is our focus on human capital development, then we would have said, okay, here we are, here we go, and so on. The schools still remain the way they are. Are we funding education properly? One of the rumors, are we funding education properly? Are we funding agric properly? Security, and so on and so forth. What are those things the people can plug in to benefit as the gains of the subsidy removal? Those still remain hanging questions. One of the things we learned shortly after the announcement of the subsidy removal is that the labor the Nigeria Labour Congress and Trade Union Congress and so on. They asked questions then. They said, okay, now that subsidy has been removed, are we going to use the accumulating fund, the fund that will accumulate from it, to fund education? Is it education we want to face, or is it our health sector? Look at places like the University College Hospital. Look at the teaching hospitals. Is it going to be our public universities? Is it going to be our public secondary schools and primary schools? What are we going to use the money from subsidy removal for? Let's name something. We learned that Labour asked that question and said, are we going to fund a particular thing or two particular things with that subsidy removal? There was no answer to that question. In fact, they were dismissed from what we learned. So the question is still nagging. What have we done with the funds that have accrued from subsidy?
Well, sometimes the presidency, you know, we come out to argue and say that, okay, we have been able to construct some roads, you know, across the state, across the country, renovations here and there. Don't you think that that's part of, you know, what the money has been used for?
If we did not remove subsidy, did the government not construct roads? When we had Federal Roads Maintenance Agency, FERMA, because I know there was a FERMA which was always on the road. If I knew of none, I know of Ibadan-Ife Road. They were always maintaining that road so that it can always be passable. The road is better imagined now. I remember Dr. Lasisi Olagunju wrote about that road. The state of the road, it's like a death trap. So they will just pick certain aspects of the road, do something, and now the road is worse. There is no, if you are going into Ekiti, I don't know if there is any state in this country that is not complaining about federal roads in their states. Ekiti is unpassable. In fact, there was a rumor that the passage of the Alara of Aramoko, his burial could not be attended by intended government officials because there was no road to Aramoko. And it's a federal road. So, what are the funds that have accrued from subsidy removal used for?
Okay, the government have also argued that they've been able to pump a certain amount of money to insecurity. And then, according to the explanation, insecurity has reduced drastically. Do you agree with that? Because in Nigeria, even if you look at the 2025-2024 budget, you know, when it comes to insecurity, a lot, I mean, is set aside for that sector. It
is argued, there's this quote that the more things change, the more they remain the same. As far as I'm concerned, there are no significant changes you can point to. I can't possibly think of any, at least not now, because when you are, okay, now we've discussed the roads. I know that many states are complaining about federal roads in their states. Is it lack of funds? The National Assembly is complaining that they cannot fund the budget. Yet, funds have accrued from subsidy removal. So there's a gap, there's a lacuna, and it is only those who know that can tell us exactly what has happened. What has gone wrong? What is the problem? Why are we still facing the same problems when we have more money? So what it tells you is that maybe those who believe that throwing money at problems will solve them have now realized that throwing money at problems cannot solve the problems, because money in itself cannot solve problems. You need the proper thinking, the proper planning, and proper budgeting, and that we haven't got.
Okay, thank you for your submission on that. Let's talk about the issue of borrowing, because you said we have more money. I don't think we have more money, because just recently the Senate approved about $21 billion. We want to borrow that amount of money just so we can have something on ground for our budget. And if care is not taken before 2025, we might have about 200 trillion naira debt as a country. Don't you think that's too much? Because we keep borrowing and then we still do not see the effect of the money that we are borrowing.
I remember when the issue of borrowing was raised during Buhari, and the Minister of Budget and National Planning, then the lady said, no, that we have the capacity, we are still within our borrowing capacity and so on. And we have been expanding, we have been stretching that capacity up to today. When the Senate approved the last borrowing, the $21 billion borrowing, which became a controversy, the federal government reminded us that there is a medium-term expenditure framework, and at that term, that framework is what the borrowing was derived from, because it had already been planned.
Okay.
We now said, okay, now that the borrowing had been planned for domestic expenditure and our foreign debts, vis-a-vis, when you weigh the two, you find out from what experts say that there is an imbalance, and the borrowings doesn't even look like we have the capacity to pay them. Not because there is no plan to pay them, but because the how to pay the loan, the borrowings, are not gelling. It's not working out. And that is why the Senate and the National Assembly cried out at some point. And Nigerians are also crying out. Those who know that the receipts do not tally with what goes into the funding. The budget is already on deficit as we speak. The budget is on deficit because, and we already into the last quarter of the year. We are almost into the last quarter of the year, but the budget has been extended. So how long are we going to operate the 2025 budget?
Do you think there's the House of Assembly, they're expecting a miracle from somewhere?
Well, I sometimes wonder if that would be the
or maybe they plan to borrow more.
If a miracle happens, thanks be to God. But to borrow more now has to also fit into the medium-term expenditure framework. Does it? If it doesn't, then it means they have to start negotiating a completely different loan terms and so on. So who bears the brunt? The same economy that's already squeaky, the same economy that is screeching. So sometimes I wonder how we plan, and our planning doesn't seem to fit into many logical postulations. How? Because at the end of the day, it will leave you with more questions than answers. And here we are. We know that the economy is in a very bad shape, and we thought in 2 years this government would have brought the economy into a particular direction. But now I don't think we have a direction in terms of the economy, and it's affecting a lot of things.
Okay, speaking of borrowing, you said you don't think this particular administration, has what it takes to pay back the loans. But just recently, I have a report here that says our debt initially was about $113.7 billion that he inherited from General Buhari. But then he has been able to reduce it, I'm talking about President Tinubu, to about $97.1 billion. Don't you think, he probably has some plans, even though they borrow more? Maybe before it runs out, maybe before, the 4 years, maybe he can pay back somehow, because he's been able to reduce it now.
From the reports.
Yeah.
Now, it was announced that our debt has, in fact, there were posts on the social media that IMF has removed us. Is it IMF or World Bank has removed Nigeria from the list of the 10 highest debtors and so on?
Yeah.
And some of us were like, okay, very good. So maybe that is the foundation for the new borrowing. But they said, no, it's not the foundation for the new borrowing. It is something that has already been laid out in the MTEF. That's the medium-term expenditure framework. Now, if we are removed from the IMF list, what about the World Bank? What about the domestic debt? What about the new borrowings? You know, so it's like we are in a cycle. You know, what goes round comes round. And at each point, where we take off from each point, we come back to the same point. You know, moving around in a circle. And that's what we often do. That's a song by Sanchez. It's like we are moving around in a circle. Look at it. Something has to break that cycle for us to say, okay, in our oil production, we have arrived. In our exports, we have arrived. And those are the things, those are the receipts that will help our oil sector and help us to stabilize the volatility. But they are not even discussed. They are not taken care of. So, to the best of my knowledge, this has not gelled. I don't think the government expected the level of volatility in the economy. So it's finding it difficult to look at our, you know, now there are complaints that import duties have increased. In fact, last week it was said that if you want to import cars into the country, hold on, because there is this 4% tag on the amount a car is worth. Now, if many Nigerians go outside the country and buy cars from car auctions, and you now bring it into the country and declare that, okay, I bought this car for $1,000, the customs will tell you, no, this car is not $1,000, it is worth $2,000. Okay. And you now pay more. You pay the tax based on $2,000, which is the valuation of the customs. Whereas you yourself, the owner of the car, the importer of the car, know that you bought it for $1,000. So that means that it has increased again. So all these things affect inflation, and inflation is spiraling.
Okay, let's talk about the tax reforms now. Don't you think the government, or let me say the president, is being proactive by trying to put in place some tax reforms, I mean, that can help, you know, generate, you know, more resources? Because he knows that, just like we said, the price of oil can either, you know, go down or increase. You know, initially it was pegged at $75 per barrel. Now we are at about $66 per barrel. And of course, we are running low production now. But don't you think the president is trying to look at other areas to actually tackle this, so that should that not work out perfectly, we can begin to look at other areas like tax reforms? He brought, you know, to the fore some new reforms. Don't you think that will help the resources?
Now, the tax reforms should have been when the economy is at its optimal production level. But the economy is not operating at the level where people are happy to pay the taxes. It's not that you are happy to pay tax anyway. Okay. But when there are more taxes than your revenue, of course it becomes a problem. You know, so when your revenue dwindles, like let's take it in practical terms. Let's say your salary is 10 naira and your tax is 2 naira 50 kobo. Okay. You can survive on 7 naira 50 kobo, which is left from the 10 naira. Okay. But when your salary is 10 naira and you pay the same 2 naira 50 kobo tax, and you are left with 7 naira 50 kobo. 7 naira 50 kobo now does not meet half of the needs 7 naira 50 kobo met before new taxes were imposed. So you are either adrift or you are completely left with nothing, because you can't pay school fees, you can't buy food, and you can't fuel your car. Is that not why we advertise pay as you earn, so that you pay as you earn? You don't just pay, you know, so much. There was even a tax reform signed by the president, where they say, okay, those low-income earners, those who earn less than ₦1 million will be paying virtually nothing and things like that. Has the effect been reflected in the economy? You see, like I said, the volatility, the nature of the economy has left us with more questions than answers. When you sit down and do a proper analysis of the economy, you'll see that, like I said, we are in a cycle. It will just go and come back to the same place. It will just go and come back to the same place. There is no break in the cycle. There is no point where you can say, okay, this is the direction of our economy as we speak. The federal government involved Tantita to be helping in creating stability in the oil exports. But have we met our quota? No. And this is about 2 years.
Is it possible for us to meet our quota?
It is
regardless
possible.
of what is going on.
It is possible for us to meet our quota. When you do the right things, and what are those right things? In the oil export terminals, you and I seated here, and everybody around here, we do not know what an oil export terminal looks like. We only see it, the nearest we come to it is see it on TV, or we read about them in books. If you see an oil flow station, you think, this looks like a Nitel tower, or a tower owned by a telecommunications company. You just be looking at it, you don't understand the wellhead. When you see a wellhead, you'll be like, what kind of tree is this? Now, that's because you and I do not understand. But we have people who understand this sector, who work there. We have the Nigerian Army, you have the Nigerian Navy, you have civil defense, you have even non-state actors who are in the security sector guarding all these things. Yet we are not meeting our per quota. Not because we are not producing enough, but because of oil theft. During the denouement of the Buhari era, towards the last stages, I remember that the Navy had to go to the minister, the NNPC GMD then, had to go to one of the governors in the South. I remember that they went to Delta to lament that oil theft was killing the economy. And
sometimes, these people will come out to say that we can only try to reduce oil theft. We cannot curb it permanently. Is that a justification when we are looking for way out?
You see, have we reduced oil theft? No. In fact, for the NNPC to cry out, because what they told us was that they were losing close to 22%.
But a few years ago, Tompolo was able to bust some sites, and then we had some development.
Yes, he was. And of course, when there's what we call new coach effect in football.
Okay.
When a new coach comes in, everybody will want to work hard to impress that new coach, so that, when Tinubu came in as the president and commander-in-chief of the armed forces, he must have seen a lot of the armed forces trying to say, no, we can do this, Your Excellency, we can do this. Now, everything is back to normal. We are losing oil, we are losing revenue, we are complaining, and our debts are mounting.
All right, let's talk about this before we wrap up the show. Now we are in a fix. We need a way out. We cannot continue to rely on oil forever. We've been doing that for years. And of course, now we know that the price is not stable, which can be determined by, internal factors and of course, external factors. We cannot continue to run, a budget deficit when we know that our expenditure is more than our revenue. What are other areas that we can begin to look into, just so we can come up with something that, even though oil, is not going to do well or will not do well at the end of the day, we have other options that we can look into?
One word: boost exports, non-oil exports.
Okay.
One sentence, not one word. Let us find a way to boost our non-oil export. Nigeria used to be, when we were growing up, Nigeria was the hub of agriculture. Unfortunately, many of the cash crops we produce are just exported raw. But the derivatives, they come back to us as imports.
Okay.
If you go to supermarket, we are so conditioned that even diapers, we don't produce diapers. We don't produce toothpicks. I remember it was an issue during Buhari. We don't produce many things. Even ballpoint pens. All the raw materials will come into the country, they will now produce it, and they will label it made in Nigeria. Are they truly made in Nigeria? No. We can do better. We can do way better than we are doing currently with non-oil production. How? help this economy. In fact, if there was going to be something, I thought there was going to be an emergency. The president was going to declare an emergency in the economy and say, okay, we want to boost local production of non-oil activities.
What about insecurity that has eaten deep?
Very good.
Into our country?
If you remember, some 5-6 months into the advent of the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, he addressed the nation and took a holistic approach to insecurity vis-a-vis agriculture. Agriculture would get better leverage if insecurity was well managed. But unfortunately, insecurity is still one of the issues. Look at what Lukarawa or what, no, not Lukarawa, there's one that massacred people on Friday in Kwara State. So it's spreading rather than being curtailed. So insecurity is one huge factor, and that affects agriculture the most. And agriculture is the mainstay. But what do we have?
Thank you for being a part of this session. You've been able to profile some solutions, to this issue of, depending on oil for too long. You talked about, export, tackling insecurity, and of course, tackling oil theft as well. Thank you for being a part of the show. Sam Nwoko, a senior editor and columnist with the Nigerian Tribune.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right. The conversation continues. Budgets, they say, are moral documents. They reveal not just what a country can afford, but what it truly values. For 26 years, Nigeria's budgets have told the same story: oil dependence, debt burdens, and big promises to the people. In 2025, with 54.9 trillion on the line, the stakes are higher than ever. Will we finally break the cycle and invest in a future beyond oil? Or will this budget join the archive of missed opportunities? The politics will decide, and Nigerians will leave with the result. Thank you for being a part of this segment. I leave you with these words: when we make decisions, let's not focus on the present alone. Let's be conscious of the future. My name is Oluwayemi Adelako. I'm saying thank you for being a part of Big Story today. Bye for now.
Live from the heart of the action. Welcome to the nerve center of Next Level Broadcasting.
This is the OB van, where the studio meets the street.
Equipped with cutting-edge cameras, crystal clear audio, real-time switching, and broadcast control, we don't just capture moments, we deliver the experience live.
Anywhere, anytime, from stadiums to red carpets, breaking news to buzzing festivals, weddings, birthdays, and all sorts of ceremonies. We bring the world to your screen in real time.
It's not just a van, it's a complete mobile production house, a command center, a broadcast beast.
This is more than a broadcast. This is the OB van difference. Live, loud, limitless.
Ready to go live? Like never before. Book the OB van today and take your event to the world. One powerful broadcast at a time.
To book, call 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Email marketing@dominion.org.ng or visit our socials on Instagram @Dominion Broadcast.
Dominion Broadcast, your channel of choice.
All right, I welcome you back. This is still Daybreak Live on Dominion Television, Ibadan. Thank you for staying with us. You know, before we wrap up the show, we definitely must talk about what's trending. Definitely. And I'm not alone. I have with me in a part. Welcome back.
I'm still very much here.
I'm glad you're back here.
Yeah. Well,
what's
happening? Well, we have this TikToker that's talking about Pella.
Okay.
Pella said, if care is not taken, I will leave entertainment and forget social media. The government wants to make me poor. They sent me a message to pay a tax of 36 million naira. They left all the big content creators on Instagram and came to me. What did I do? He's asking
honestly,
a question.
You know, it's a big question, but I think, you know, they are saying because it's making money.
It went further. He said, I thought it's people that have companies that pay taxes. Is it because I said it on a national television that's talking about TVC that I was making a lot of money on TikTok and I was only packaging myself and I'm just a streamer. No, I don't work.
When it comes to social media, watch the things you say. Anything that you say can be used against you.
He packaged himself.
There's nothing like packaging.
So packaging has landed him into this.
It has landed. So he definitely has to pay this amount of money.
36.
Maybe not all of it, but he definitely has to pay
He can
tax.
negotiate.
Yes, he's a streamer. Yes, but he makes money. I mean.
But then, to me, I feel it's a lesson for anyone watching us there that even Yoruba will say, "Tishu any butter." So even if you're earning millions and you're being called upon to come and talk on national television or radio, just try as much as possible to be to watch what you say.
Moderate.
Be moderate. Watch what you say. Think before you say it, because if he thought of what is going to happen, he wouldn't have said this, that he makes money.
He forgot that he's a popular person. Pella is more popular than some other I'm serious. He's so popular, so he forgot that, you know, anything he says will definitely trend. You said, no, you have money, you make more money, and so they're asking you to come and pay tax. There was a time.
I'm sure he has not been paying.
Yes, there was a time that, you know, they sent a bill to Yaboju about tax, and then she complained bitterly that how can she pay, you know, this amount of money?
Huge amount.
You know, that's somebody that not even come out for once to say, okay, I'm making a lot of money. Now compared to you that came out to say, you know what, I'm this, I am that, I make this certain amount of money. Packaging has led into this. So he definitely has to pay.
Well, we have comments there, and Lizzie_J. 998 and J98 saying that just a few days ago you said your manager did not know what he was saying. You use your mouth to say that the 150 million he mentioned is amount in your second account and not the main account. What do you expect?
No, too much money. There's a popular slang on the street. They will say money na water. For money na water.
So another person is saying official Oloye Doko _ Apostle, they said, now in mouth, he used globalize himself.
Yeah, another comment from Olor Femi saying, when you don't know how to keep quiet and call, Shebi na you won't show off. Kobani Zamani saying, tax for what I beg. What is he saying? It's not like that. He needs to pay tax. And of course, I think we all know that. So at some point, he should find a common ground. And so what we say.
If you are not paying tax,
just like just like what we discussed, I mean, today on Big Story, we said that the government is trying to, you know, put in some reforms that can actually boost our resources. We can't keep borrowing. Imagine we have, you know, close to 200 trillion naira debt. You know, every Nigeria is owing now. We don't know.
Every Nigeria, even on your unborn babies.
Honestly, it's a big one.
All right, this is the convenient time for us to say thank you so much for being our companion starting from 7 a.m. to this moment. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. You know, we can't do this alone. And that's why we say we love you so much. And of course, I say have a wonderful day. My name is Pat Aito.
And of course, my name is Oluwayemi Adelako. I'm saying thank you for being a part of the show. Do well to join us same time tomorrow. Today is Wednesday. Ensure that you take the best decisions that can help you. Bye for now.